You could say whatever you want at the poker table, cause I just don't give a fuck. Poker Table Talk, the podcast we do for GP. Definitely not PC, suck my wee-wee. And if you don't like it, move out the way, nigga. Beat. Yeah, what's going on? Once again, it's your host with the most, Jason Cordova. Welcome to Poker Table Talk, the podcast we do for GP. Definitely not PC. You don't like it, suck my wee-wee. And right next to me, you hear that laugh. And none other than my boy, Will Noonan.
What's up?
Say what up to the people, Will Noonan.
What's up, man? This is a fucking honor and a pleasure to be here.
Thanks. I did your podcast.
You've done my podcast a couple times.
Yeah.
My various different podcasts and
Right.
shit all through the years. So it's nice to finally kind of come on, do one of yours. I'm going to take a quick... I'm doing a selfie for the gram.
Doing a selfie for the gram.
Christmas colored mic covers, red and green.
Yeah, so...
Man, that's a bad pick of me, but I'm just going with it.
Just go with it, man.
I'm not vain.
Yeah, you can't be like that.
Wow, it's cold in Boston today.
It's fucking...
The microphones are cold.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like
in my hand.
Yeah,
it's like holding
it's fucking freezing.
a metal dildo made of ice.
The fuck is that with you?
Yeah, an icy metal dildo.
Why white boys always talking gay shit?
I didn't say that. I was actually thinking of a vagina. I was like, it goes in and out of a vagina, and it gives it just enough frostbite, the kind you like. Little nibble, frost nibble, they call it.
They found out like that shit is like actually what makes a girl come, and then they stop.
Well,
fucking
so like when I was living in LA back in the day before I even started stand
you were
up,
freezing your dildos.
I sold dildos. I was a dildo salesman.
How the fuck you get in that line of work?
I'll tell you. I went to the Hustler store on Sunset Boulevard,
course,
and I filled out an application for any job.
Yeah.
And my first job was I was a door greeter. You know, I was like, hello, welcome to the Hustler store.
Wow, they have a greeter?
Yep. And then the next job I had was like security, and then the next job I had was like folding, and then the next job I had, like, I kept getting
This is
promoted.
all in the Hustlers.
Yeah, I worked there for like 3 months, and I got promoted like 12
Because
times.
whoever stays.
Yeah.
Whoever can make it through.
It was like they were about to make me like a porn actor, and I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
But it was fucking. I went to a 2-day, like I had a 2-day
Seminar?
It was like 2 afternoons, you know. Like
Orientations?
2-hour orientations where they taught me a little bit
Or
about
don't make
boobs,
For real?
dildos and stuff. And so
Are you shitting me?
I'm not kidding you. So what this makes me think of is we had this one thing that we had one of them. It was a dildo that was metal and electric, and like you could turn this dial and make it. But we had to tell people like, hey, no one ever asked about it or wanted to buy it.
Right.
But it was like if we sold it to people, they had to sign like a waiver when they bought it that said like this
What?
could fucking like
Fuck you up.
it could like kill the feeling in your vagina for life.
If it just goes hammer time on
Yeah,
it.
if you're just electrically shocking your pussy all
You're
the
just
time,
done.
you're gonna kill it, you know. So we used to, when we were bored in the store, we would hold it in our hand, like grip it, and just see how long you could hold it as the electricity gets turned up.
What the
So
fuck?
even if someone
Training
did buy
courses?
it, like if someone bought that shit, they would have had like 5,000 dudes who worked at that store fingerprints up in their puss. 'Cause, yeah, no one ever bought it, I guarantee.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was a weird time. That was a weird fucking job, man.
I bet. I was the type of people you see up in there.
I sold some porno to Anthony Anderson and his wife, the comedian
What?
Anthony Anderson. It's right there in Hollywood. The thing about the Hustler store is it's like on Sunset Boulevard. It's across the street from Whiskey A Go Go, and it's like in it's not a touristy area, but it's around a bunch of cool shit.
Right.
So it's like when drunk celebrities are kind of like walking up and down Sunset
I'm like,
Boulevard.
fuck it, I'll just go in there.
Go look at some dildo. And they sell like T-shirts and
Yeah.
there's a section like you could bring a kid in there.
What?
But, like, then there's the section in the back that's, like, adults only, where they sell, like, pornos and stuff.
The whole store should be adults only.
Yeah. I might be wrong about that one now that I think about it. It's been a long time. That was, like, fucking 15 years ago or something.
Damn, I didn't even know that was a job.
Yeah. There's a few of them around, too. And there's, like, a few. I'll pass them sometimes when I'm on the road. I'll be like,
I have bad
Hustler
memories.
store. It was a real thing. It was, like, one of those things where it started to get like real serious, and they were like trying to make me a manager and all this stuff. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I went on to do anything I could to just like pay my rent.
Right.
Remember, I quit. I quit to be a telemarketer. That was the job I did after.
How was that?
It was fucking brutal. That was my last job I had in L.A. Even though so I put in my 2 weeks, and then my 2 weeks that I like. It was this weird. I killed it. Like I made like something like $1,600 in commission. Like,
what?
Like in like these 2 weeks. And I remember the lady was like, "Man, I'm fucking sorry to see you go. Like when you put in your 2 weeks, I didn't give a shit, and now you're like our top salesman this week." And I was like, "I know. I kind of feel like staying, but tickets are bought, and I'm leaving. So bye."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of those things in life where you're like, I dodged a bullet. What if I had said, yeah? And what if I like kept? And I was like, man, this is good money, you know.
Right,
what if I
you just
a
stayed
salesman
now.
in
the dildo industry.
Exactly.
That could have been your job.
All kinds of things.
Will Noonan, the dildo salesman.
Wildo.
What do you?
Wildos, dildos.
What do you put on your fucking business card?
Yeah, I know.
You don't want to.
You wouldn't want to buy a fake cock off an Irishman. You want to go to the big cock community when you want to buy cock.
Wow.
But yeah, man. That's fun. That's what
Today
I
was an ill night though. That fucking that show.
That was great. The White Bull Tavern.
The Hideout. That shit was dope, bro.
That was the first time I'd been there in a while. Thank you very much. You too, sir.
Yeah, man. That was a good show, bro. I seen a lot of new shit I ain't never heard you do before.
That was most of that stuff was new, so I was happy to be trying it.
Yeah.
It's like new, but it's good. It's in that perfect spot where it's like
you're excited about it still.
I'm still excited about it, but it actually has some punchlines.
Got meat on it, right? Exactly.
And it's not like a couple things I did tonight were new enough where you're just going hope something happens, like the stuff with the girlfriend and the stores.
Right.
But yeah, the Irish.
Yeah, the Irish shit.
The Irish shit is like good now. It's a real tight now.
And
it's not. I've never heard any of that shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like
it's just you.
It's just an original.
Yeah.
Which is hard. You know, it's fucking hard, man. I open for a lot of people, and when you open for them, you're like, fuck, this guy's doing like a way better version of what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Because sometimes you can be good enough to have the idea.
Right.
You can see what's funny.
But the execution is another thing.
So I had that happen, but I was like, nah, I'm the only dude who's like, because I'm doing that joke like in those like fucking fundraiser gigs that suck, you know, and it still works.
Yeah, fundraisers are the motherfucker. I haven't had a fundraiser or like one of those shows in a minute. Those shits are. That's when comedy feels like work.
Yep.
When it actually feels like work, you're like, oh boy.
Those are hotel paintings, I call them.
Yeah.
So, you know, like painters, they like paint stuff that they like think is beautiful and that they love, but they got to pay the bills, so they paint like sunsets and then sell them to hotels. They don't even put like their real name on.
Yeah.
You know? Like when you're in a hotel room and there's a painting on the wall, it's like the guy who painted that isn't happy.
Yeah, he just had to paint.
He just had to do that so he could make some money. It's like that's how I always feel when I do fundraisers. I'm like,
pay the bills.
I'm painting a sunset right now.
That is a hotel
and I'm writing like Frank at the bottom.
Right. You don't even want to be associated with this fucking.
And that just goes to show how good of a job being a stand-up comedian is.
Right.
That like one night you don't kill and the crowd's not perfect and you're like, oh, this feels like I'm working.
Yeah. That is what it is though.
Yeah.
It was a good shit though. I like all that shit you was doing was fucking crazy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I got some new stuff, and I've had some good like gigs lately. So it's like, you know how that goes. Like when you're doing good
gigs,
exercise and feeling good.
Yeah, that's cool, bro.
Yeah.
What you been up to though, bro? I feel like I haven't.
I know we haven't.
I used to see you all the time. Now I see you. I haven't seen you more lately, but I see you seldomly.
I know it was for a little bit. I don't know. I met my girl like probably a year ago. So it was like a year and a half ago. So when I met her, I kind of just became.
You fell off the map.
A little bit, like I would just do gigs.
Shit. Yeah, you just do
Capo.
What was necessary.
Like I have Capo, which is this great one night a week where I can do new stuff, work on stuff, or whatever, just stay fresh. And the weekends, but yeah, I remember even you fall in love or whatever. I spent a year kind of hanging less, doing less, like developable like bar shows, stuff to just work shit out.
Right.
And then. And it's also like that's just comedy anyway. Like sometimes you just don't see people and then you see them. But But now I'm like,
I've been seeing you everywhere.
just coming back out more and more and more, and
It's good to see.
I go in and out of that. You do too, though. You've kind of
you
like
know me, bro.
like
I got my son.
come and gone.
That's my son though, so
Yeah.
it's just like I be.
Who's getting so old now?
Yeah, he'll be 11 in March.
He's fucking doing open mics himself in a couple of years.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I'll be on his podcast in 4 years.
Right. So we just do that, and he's like, I got custody of my son like 5 years ago, so like I really be doing like daddy shit.
Yeah.
Now. Like real.
Yeah, you're the real deal.
Yeah, like I fucking like bring him to football games, basketball practices, bring him to fucking doctors when he hurts himself at these fucking things, and it's just like, you don't know. Like I do a lot of shit during the day, so that's why like when I do comedy, it's just like I can get lost in the shit. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Because it's like that's my like okay.
Well, I think that's the right way to be, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I was saying this to a young guy last night who's like, even when you're doing the open mics and you're trying to like get as good as possible, and you're always trying to get on stage, it's like,
We're staying for a second.
Oh, you got a microphone?
Yeah, we're doing a podcast.
doing a podcast.
Oh, you ain't. Don't videotape me.
Hey.
Are you leaving?
Yeah, no, we're not leaving.
Okay, because your lights on, and we thinking we trying to.
Oh,
We're
dude,
trying to keep the heat on.
turn the headlights. There you go. All right, I love like, you got your answer.
Yeah.
Then he was like, had to give the whole
The
like,
whole
I love a gay person, but sometimes they think they're so charming. It's like
it was a lot of unnecessary.
he was
shit.
he was kind of acting like, well, aren't you too lucky? I just landed on your
Right.
I'm a little ladybug and I just landed
Yeah,
on your finger, and now
yeah.
we're gonna have this interaction. It's like, maybe I'm not in the mood for a ladybug. Right
Right.
now. Maybe we're having a great podcast.
Right. What the fuck was
Actually, the whole thing didn't
'cause
bother me.
it was-
Don't videotape me. Hey.
Nobody's videotaping anything. We're just right here. And what's man funny about that dude? Like, when you're in a moment you thought was gonna be over? It was like that. Like I didn't think
Yeah.
this interaction was gonna be this
Like
long.
long. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be 1 second.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not moving. And then that would have been the end
Yeah,
of it.
like a couple people have driven by and I've just shaken my head
dude.
at them. But yeah, for the listener, we are on a somewhat busy street, but not
It's
really.
busy. It's next to the TD Garden. so
Busy-ish,
it's pretty busy.
and people are always looking for parking in Boston.
Right.
but-
We was just talking about this. Like, I was looking for parking before the show, and I'm always like pushing it.
Mhm.
Like, cause like that's the thing about like sometimes like when you had a car, it's a gift and a curse. Cause like I got there quick, but I spent just as much time looking for parking as it would have been
Yeah.
to just go through like the train or the bus or all that bullshit.
It is true, or like just the Uber. Although I always love having the car.
Yeah. It's always good to be able to leave when you want.
Leave when you want, have
Mhm.
your fucking space
Yeah.
to yourself.
And then that's what I was saying. Like sometimes, like in Boston in particular, like you be looking for parking for so long that any space you see looks like a good spot. Like we walked pretty far to get here,
Yeah.
and it was
No,
cold.
that's the truth though. Your standards of like what
What's good?
you're like, like, all right, distance from the hydrant, like
Right.
you're like when you first start looking for parking, you're like, oh, that's not enough room. I'm too
Yeah.
close to the hydrant. And like the fourth time you pass the hydrant,
Yeah.
you're like, well, fuck it, they can get through.
Right. And then you start thinking,
When is
like,
there really a fire?
You're right. Then you start thinking shit like fucking. I haven't seen one of the meter maids walk by. And all. Is he really
Yeah.
gonna come down
Yeah.
this street?
Yeah.
But you can actually play like that, especially on cold nights. If cold and rainy nights, I really get really
Yeah.
arrogant with it.
I even know that like at midnight they change shifts, so I know like at midnight.
They're just coming on
You
work.
got
yeah.
like an hour between like
Yeah.
11 and 1. You got
Shift
2 hours
change.
there where you can kind of get
a
away
line
with some,
change like a fucking
Yeah.
hockey game.
and get away with some garbage.
Yeah, you can do some
I
bullshit.
fucking hate the meter maids, man.
Wow.
I actually almost had
Brought
one on
one?
my podcast one time
A
because
meter maid?
yeah.
I was thinking that before because, like, having a job where everybody hates you.
You know what's so funny though? I got it all set up.
He didn't show
Literally,
up.
she said yes and everything. I had it all set up. It was hard to do. I went through like the public relations board and everything.
Just to talk to her?
And then it was so funny. She said yes and all that stuff, and I was like, "Fuck it, I don't want to do it." It was like literally, it was something like I got a ticket, and I was like, "Yo, fuck them. I'm not gonna put them on my show."
Right.
Like it was like just like that.
That's how you get back at meter maids. That's the only way
Yeah,
you could have got
man.
back.
Yeah, it was like I wasted everyone's time, just like they always
That's
waste
what
mine.
it is when you get a ticket. You're wasting everybody's time.
But it was like that.
Like I found the spot. That's what I was doing, trying to find a spot. I wasn't trying to pay for a spot.
It is hard. It's hard to find parking spots. Southie is where I live. It's like,
Yo, bro, I hate driving to Southie because it's just for that reason.
yeah.
It's just like, yo, you can never find parking, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Sometimes I'll just be like, it obviously hasn't happened because it's winter now, so I have my windows closed. And sometimes you have like your windows open, you'll just hear someone like in their car going like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
where's our car? You know, and,
Yeah.
oh, where's this fucking spot? You know, it's like people are going crazy.
Looking for spots,
Yeah,
right?
just looking for parking spots, man.
That shit is crazy. Even the people that live there, right, can't find parking spots.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, yeah, if you have the sticker, you can park in more places.
But
And
it's still hard.
they used to, like, back in the day, you could park anywhere. Like, there weren't
should be
meter
able
maids in
to.
Southie, you know? There used to not be meter maids in, like, residential neighborhoods as much. And now they're, like,
Everywhere.
all day,
Just walking.
they walk those streets and they tow off the fucking street cleaning. They tow everybody. It's, like, such a racket,
It's
man.
too much, man. That's
Yeah.
too fucking much. Like, that's what it's just like, we was talking, like, when the vote closed and I stopped getting so many tickets, that was crazy how much money I was, like, saving.
Yeah. Yeah, the ticket thing is, like, it'll kill you, man. And it's kind of like, not to be a huge dick, not to be, like, political, but it's a real way to, like, kind of keep poor people down or keep, like, not even poor people, like, the middle class and the
Yeah.
lower middle class. It's like,
Extra money you gotta
if
spend.
you're, like, if you're getting, they just throw out $90 tickets now in Boston like it's
90?
nothing.
I remember
Yeah.
it was 40.
The ones I get on Newberry Street now are like $60 to $90.
$90?
And I'm like, this is like, luckily now I'm like, hey, I never want to pay that, but there were
Yeah.
long periods of life a time in my life where something like that is like a fucking massive hit. man.
Yeah, like,
It's
hell
like you got to
yeah.
start thinking about, you got to rebudget everything.
Yeah, you gotta fucking, you gotta enter that into, like, your,
I think about that all the time, you know,
like all the times when I used to get boots, and you gotta pay for the boot, and then pay for all the tickets you
oh,
didn't pay.
dude, I mean,
It's like, ooh.
there was one time where I had
you gotta
to
get
like,
a ride to go get your car.
yeah, you got to borrow money. Like, I'd have to borrow money to like get the car out, just then go work, make the money.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was. I've been booted twice.
I bought a couple times.
I've been ticketed a lot.
No, tickets, bro. They start sending you the letters. You don't even respect it because it's
I
just a piece
know.
of paper.
Oh, I got pulled off the road
Mm-hmm.
up in New Hampshire.
Oof.
I was actually, technically I was in Mass, but I had just crossed the border.
Yeah.
So I was like just in Massachusetts.
Mhm.
And fucking, I get pulled over. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I wasn't doing anything, you know?
Mhm.
I was smoking,
Yeah.
but I wasn't driving weird. I wasn't driving fast or anything. And it was like, now if they drive by you, it'll like scan your license plate, and if you like have tickets, it like goes like blook, and like their
Pops right up.
on their computer. Your face, your license picture pops up on their
Oh,
computer.
that's some
everything.
crazy shit.
So the guy was like, pulls me over. I mean, I'm talking like middle of a dark highway. And he's like, yeah, your registration's expired. I'm like, what? And it was like, it was just ignoring the mail, you know?
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, you can't be driving this car, so we're going to have it towed off the road. And he's like, really? I could arrest you, but I won't. And I was like, what? So I had to take a cab from like Newburyport, Mass.
How much was that?
To it was $100 even. And that's probably only because I told the guy, I'm like, that's all I have. That's like all I can give you. Like,
Yeah, it's
this
literally everything I have.
This ATM like won't give me more than $100.
Right.
And I only have like $150
Right.
or something. So it was like, it was so bad. It took forever to fucking take care of because it was like a long weekend.
Oh, it's always on the long weekends when they fuck you up.
And then when I went up to get my car, it had been sitting in this tow yard up in New Hampshire. It was under like 3 feet of snow when I went up.
You had to dig it out?
Yeah, I had to dig it out.
They made you dig
They
out
make
your own
you
shit?
dig it out, yeah. I'm not even kidding you, man.
What?
And it was snowing when the guy I was like, this cop is fucking me so hard.
Like it's snowing right now.
Yeah.
Like,
and
come on, give me a break.
This isn't even like safe, really.
Right.
You know? So, guy was an asshole. I hate to say it, but
What the fuck?
I hate to speak ill of policemen on a black guy's podcast, but I don't think I got a fair shake that night. But I will say this: while we were waiting for the tow truck,
Yeah.
he goes, he asked me a bunch of questions. I mean, car smells like weed. I know it. He knows it. He asked me a bunch of questions, and I'm doing the whole like, oh, I'm a comic and coming back from
XYZ.
I'm coming back from wherever, and he goes, if anything you just told me is a lie, I'm gonna arrest you.
Whew.
Typical like cop shit, right? And
Right.
I'm going, all right, like, and then it's like that whole thing where nothing I even told him was a lie, but I was like, what if he is fucking too dumb or can't find what I said, or
Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm in this fucking thing. So then he comes back, and this is where life like really sucks. He comes back and he's like, now he's a total, oh, man, you're pretty funny, man. Your stuff's good.
He looked you up on
I almost
YouTube.
regret. Yeah, I was watching. You got a good joke about cops firing me. He watched a bunch of YouTube clips and stuff because we had to wait like 15 minutes until the thing.
Are you shitting me? He watched your
So then-
comedy while he's towing you?
I swear. So then he gave me a ride to the nearest gas station so I could take a cab home, and he was literally like acting like we're bros. Like, oh man, I almost feel bad now, but it is the law. But you got to come back up and maybe do like our
And get towed
fundraiser
again.
And I'm sitting there going like, haha,
Fuck
yeah,
you.
okay, yeah, like, and that was the part where I like really was pissed because I hate when how you have to act like, of course, man.
That's
like-
crazy. But that's crazy that
They always act so nice once it's all done.
I mean, I'm pretty sure no black dude has ever got a nice ride from a cop.
It was kind of funny. He goes,
He was
I'll
black,
give
I
you a
would've
ride to
arrested
the
you.
gas station because it's not safe to leave you out here, right? And
Wow.
I go, okay. And I'm thinking like, I got all this weed in my bag, He's like, you don't have any drugs on you, do you? And I'm like, nope. And then I literally walk back. I open the door myself to the back of the state trooper SUV, and I hop in. I put my backpack in, knowing like all the weeds are there, and I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
bro,
like, I'm hopping right into the back of a cop car
They
with
dropped
weed.
you off, bro. I wouldn't think a cop would ever do that.
No, I
shit.
think I actually would have had a lawsuit because I don't know how it worked out. It ended up I didn't face any like thing other than the tickets
tow?
and fines and stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like they didn't charge me with driving with like an expired thing or
They
whatever.
just hit you with the tow fees.
But they could have like really railroaded me.
Damn, they would have railroaded me.
And then that made me not want to ever smoke weed in my car. A year later, I started smoking weed in my car again.
Yeah.
But like for a year, I didn't do it because I was like, man, you can be pulled over like
For
at any time, like even when you're not doing anything.
Yeah. You just had a black experience.
I've had a few of those. One time I had a black cop, not a cop though, like a MDC, like Parks Department.
Oh, those are the worst ones.
You know how sometimes they'll get details, like if
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
else is busy.
Yeah, they get the jurisdiction.
I was driving through Southie at like fucking 3 a.m. and I'm coming home from my gig and I'm like, I hit this stoplight. It's like, when you're doing that and there's like a cone in the road and there's like a parked truck and I'm just like, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just go around
You
the
just
cone.
go, right, yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm halfway on my way and this fucking MDC guy, like in a pickup truck, pulls up next to me. He's like screaming. He's like so fucking mad.
You went crazy on
He
you?
went crazy on me, and he tried to like stick it to me as much as he could, and he was saying that I just drove through a construction site. I'm like, what?
A cone is not a construction
He was
site.
going insane, and I remember thinking, like, man, I want to kill this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, this is so. I'm being so like disrespected. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That was actually like the black experience. Not even because we were different races, but I was like, this man in a position of
100%
power
disrespect, and he's abusing it.
is abusing it
Yeah.
because he's like, I don't even think it was a white black thing, but it was like he was just mad thing, and
Yeah.
it was like, here's my
He
chance
unloaded on you.
to unload on somebody.
I see.
But he was like, and then this was like kind
Now
of
imagine like
So-
that's what black people be talking about. Like imagine you getting that experience and the dude doesn't even look at you like a human being.
Yeah,
or
no,
like your
it's
life
true.
doesn't fucking matter. He would let off on you.
It's true, and I think it's real.
Yeah.
I think it's real, and I think this is something though that I think I say this with all due respect.
Yeah.
I think black people, some black guys, don't understand because they've never been white. I've never been black. You've never been white.
Right.
That cops are just also really big dicks to us too. Like some,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Not the same, not
Nah,
always
nah.
the same. But
Yeah.
I'm saying a lot of white. I'm just saying, as a white guy myself, I've had some experiences with cops where I'm like, wow, and I'm
Right.
supposed to be getting the white guy treatment.
Right.
So what the fuck?
Right.
Because I had a time where I got pulled over And I'm the son of a Boston cop, and I have all these names I can drop, and I'm
Right.
supposed to be like this guy who, and even I have like stories where I'm like, why the fuck was that guy like that?
Right.
You know, like, and they put you in positions where it's like they push you right to the edge sometimes. Like, they do everything, they're within the law, but they're pushing you to like attack them.
Yeah, cause so
You
they
know?
can fucking flip on you.
And then as soon as you fucking start to go, so to get back to the story, right?
Yeah.
This guy's like holding me there, and I'm just tired, and I just want to go home, and I'm even saying like, just give me the fucking ticket, you know what I
Right.
mean? And he's like, hold on, because he's on the phone. He has to get
He finally gets to use his fucking phone.
he has to get clearance from somebody to like even give me a ticket. So I go, I remember this. Now this is the white guy shit.
Mhm.
I go, just give me the fucking ticket, asshole.
Oof.
Right? Like,
Wow.
and that's not even me.
Yeah.
But I was starting to get like really fucking pissed, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I didn't say that because I just escalated this thing.
To another
So now
level.
he's super mad, right? Then this is where I really like lucked out. He's like on the phone. He's like, I got the guy right here.
Oh.
And then he goes, no, he did it. And then then he goes, and then he takes 2 steps away. He's like, he fucking went right around me. No, I can't now. I've already said
It's
too
like
much
a
shit.
movie.
He's like, I already said too much. And then he's like, fine, fuck. And then he like hangs up the phone and he's like, comes over to me. He's like, get out of here. You'll get something in the mail. Get out of
Oh
here.
shit. That's kind of funny.
And he wasted like a fucking 25 minutes of my time.
That's crazy.
But I actually think it's so real. I mean, I like am kind of I get flack because I'm like, I get flack both ways because I say stuff about the
That
cops.
out the whole time?
No, it just
Okay.
popped out.
All right.
I was like just thinking that myself, although I hope it didn't pop out like a
Yeah.
couple minutes ago, but I think
Yeah.
it just popped out.
Right, yeah, you say what?
I
Anti something.
sometimes I say stuff online about, I haven't done it in a while because I just try not to be a bummer, but I said something about the cops, and I'm like, this has got to stop,
Right.
Like, it's like people, your joke is so dead on, like, that's not even black people. I think no one wants to roll down the window for a cop
Yeah.
anymore. It's aggressive. Ever
Yeah.
since really, it's unfortunate, but when there's like a war, guys go to war, they come back from war, they're fucked up. Guys who come back from war want to be cops and firemen. It's just the way it is,
Yeah.
So it's like when there's a war, now you have a bunch of cops who treat the citizens like
it's a war
like it's a
field.
war zone, and it sucks. And so whenever I say something along those lines, I get a lot of shit because it's like, oh, Will, like your fucking dad's a cop, and
Right.
you do stuff for the cops. And then in the other way, it's like if I do stuff with the cops or for the cops, it's like, oh, he's pro cop, you know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
I think it can go both ways, but
Yeah.
I do think it's real, like 100% real, like that shit with the UPS driver yesterday
Yeah.
in Cali. It's like, dude, they killed 2 people, 2 innocent people,
Right.
trying to kill one guy who, like, they could have just let that fucking thing run out of gas.
Right,
You know?
right.
Like, or just kept chasing him, or just kept. But there's so many guys who like want to be Billy Badass, and everyone's
Right.
watching too many movies, and they think they gotta pop their gun off all the time.
Right. Got people
Drives me
outside.
nuts,
It's hot in here.
I know it is getting hot. I
Yeah.
think there should be. Do you want to hear my controversial idea to solve this?
Yeah, let's hear it, bro.
So here's one of my theories about cops and what makes the interactions tough.
Yeah.
Is that when the big thing as a son of a cop and as someone who's even been to funerals of cops that have died in the line of duty, one of the things you hear all the time is, gotta get home to my family at the end of the day. Whatever happens, and even when cops are being trained,
Yeah.
whatever happens, you get home to your family at the end of the day.
Right.
If someone dies, it's not going to be you. Like, that's kind of like what it starts off with, right? So a lot of cops are walking around with that mentality. Every single time they pull someone over, they're like, before they even get out of their car, they're like, this is a potentially life or death situation.
Right.
And if someone dies here today, it's not going to be me. I'm going to go home to my family.
Right.
And I think that is a fine philosophy. However, only one person in that interaction signed up for a job and gets paid for a job
Right.
where they might die in the line of duty.
Right.
Like, that sucks that being a cop or being a fireman means you could die. Like, that is a shitty reality.
Right.
But it
Especially that's
is.
in your job.
It is a reality.
Right.
It is something every single person who signs up for those jobs knows. That's why they pay so well. That's why they pay pensions. That's why they're hard to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like a
Right.
lot of reasons, but it's not. It comes with the job, you know?
Right.
That's why they get paid. So when you're getting pulled over, it's like you're just getting sucked out of your life. You've now
Right.
been put on pause.
Mm-hmm.
And if the best case scenario is that this person just only wasted your time.
Right.
You know, they
That's
might
what you're
go
hoping for.
that you're hoping that they'll go, fuck it, like,
Yeah.
you know, something else happened, like here's a warning or
Right.
here's nothing. That's
Yeah.
the best case scenario. So what I would institute is instead if at the end of that interaction, instead of getting a warning or nothing, you'd get a coupon or something for $20 or $10 or $15. Because if he's getting paid for being there,
Yeah.
you should be getting paid for being there.
Right.
And that way, it solves everyone's problem of like, you're not sitting there going like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And like, oh my
Right.
God, I'm getting pulled over and da-da-da-da-da. You could be going, hey, I'm getting pulled over, but I'm fucking innocent, so I'm
Yeah,
walking out of this with $20.
You get an Amazon gift card.
I'm like, get an Amazon gift card. I'm out of this with $20 fucking bucks, you know? And it gives the cops like, and I'm not going to pull over fucking 30 people today because I can't give out 30 fucking Amazon gift cards, so I'm only going to pull over the people I really think are fucking doing fucked up shit.
Right.
You know?
Like there has to be some accountability on the pullovers.
There has to be some accountability on them, and also I think it would put the person in the car at ease. It would also send a message to the cop right away, like even like, wow, this person's not at ease. They don't even care about the free money they might get.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot. Like it doesn't have to be even $20. I think $10. I would feel better. Like, man, that cop, I'm fucking pissed. I got pulled over. That sucked. Well, at least I got $10. I go buy
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah.
The way the city wastes money, you know, like,
Right.
why not
can't
do that?
give me $10?
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea when you.
The main thing I'm saying is he's
not.
getting paid.
Right.
You're not. He
Right.
signed up for it. You didn't. So
you
how
wanna
can
be
we make
compensated?
how can we make it a little bit more like, because really what it is from the moment they pull you over, you're not really under arrest, but you are, you know,
Yeah,
like
you're being detained.
If you decided to go fucking run, they'd chase you and arrest
you're
you.
Detained.
You know, so it would give, I think it would remind the cops that, hey, you're dealing with a citizen here.
Right.
Like a free citizen.
Right.
And until they're convicted of a crime or at least give you probable cause, like you're not allowed to treat them like a fucking, like someone you're about to throw around. You know?
Right.
But that's how they start the interaction now.
Yeah, from the beginning.
I've had one time this a few years ago, I was driving through Boston. You know how it is. You're fucking like, it sucks. I went through a yellow, like, without even, like, I just saw a yellow. I just went through it. There was a police car, like, next to me.
You wasn't even thinking about it.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just thinking about it. Actually, at the time, my dad was in the hospital. I was going to see him. So I was kind of like in my head or whatever. Total mistake. This Boston cop pulls me over. Like right then and there. You know, because I did it right in front of him. And I'm like, oh, God, this was stupid, you know? And I'm pulling over. I got my license and registration in my hand. I put the lights on. I know the cops like that, you know, all that shit. And before I even can say, like, hello, this guy's walking up to my window like, you know how it makes me fucking look. You know how when you fucking go through a yellow light in front of me, that's like putting the middle fucking finger in my fucking face.
For real?
Yeah, and I'm going, and I'm like.
I was just going through a yellow light.
I was like, dude. I go, I'm sorry. I go, my dad, who's a retired Boston cop of 30 years, is in the hospital. And he just had a heart attack. I did. I said it. I go, so I'm a little bit out of it right now. And he goes, well, what was his name? Like George. Oh, yeah, I knew your dad. All right, well, I'm just it's fucking yellow. They're there for a reason. Be safe. You know, it's like this whole fucking. But I remember thinking, I go, this
even
is.
a digress is aggressive.
Exactly. And so it's kind of like, I think sometimes, to get back to my thing, I think there really is obviously prejudices. Yeah. But I think sometimes when a black dude gets that, they're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like a white dude doesn't get that.
Yeah.
And then that's when I want to be like, it does. Some people are just dickheads to everybody they meet, you know, like white and black. But they are probably, it's a real thing. So to fully bring this around, when I got mugged, like in New York City.
Yeah, you told me about that recently.
It was like, they were just grabbing black dudes like in the neighborhood. and putting them in front of me and being like, was it him? Was it him? Was it him? And I was
Yeah.
like, this is fuck, guys. Like, I gave you a very
Yeah.
specific description,
Right.
and I felt pretty awful about it. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, this is like now I'm like party
Yeah.
of like to
what's
just
going
fucking
on.
up dudes' lives.
Right. Damn.
And I think cops do. I think that's a law enforcement thing where they hear on the radio. All right, so this is one of my favorite stories that recently happened. Or a guy just got a ton of money up in Canada.
Yeah.
So up in Toronto, there was a jewelry store robbery,
Mhm.
and it was part of like a string.
Yeah.
Jewelry store robbery. So like, they were like, you know, gotta get this guy. He's a fucking serial robber, and he fucking the description. The guy they were looking for was a short, bald, white man. Was the suspect that they had in mind. That was what all the cops, like the bulletin they all got, everything. So some Friday night in Toronto a couple of years ago, there's like an alarm goes off at one of the jewelry stores. All the cops in the fucking city
Are there?
swarm on it because they're trying to. And the guy, they catch the guy in the act, and he runs out. He runs, and they are chasing him. Four
Right.
cops are chasing him. The guy runs around a corner, and the cops lose sight of him for a second. When the cops come around the corner, a Toronto city bus is fucking pulling up to the curb,
They start shooting it.
and a black dude is stepping off the bus, and they're like, all draw their guns on him, like, get on the ground, get on the ground, get on the ground.
What?
Because he like had a somewhat similar outfit to the short, bald white man they were chasing. Get on the ground, get on the ground, get on. So they get this guy on the ground. He was in jail for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
This guy is a professional musician, has like works all over Toronto, has zero criminal history, and all of the interrogation is online. So this is how I know about it. I watched his interrogation.
Oh shit.
He could not be more like of an intelligent dude,
Yeah.
polite dude. He goes, because the cops just go, we know it's you, so we already know it's you, so just confess. And he's like, is this like a tactic? I believe it's a good tactic, but I gotta tell you guys, like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But if I get it, like, you can tell me this, but like, I didn't do. It was just so. It took. He was in jail for 3 weeks until they finally got him out, and he sued and won. I think he ended up getting like under $100,000. I'm like, this dude should get millions.
You're right.
But what I'm saying is the thing that they need to fix is that, and which may be very hard to fix, I think, is that like thing in a human, that prejudice in a human's brain, you know?
Yeah.
That's like, how are you going to take, even if these guys who are Toronto cops, they might not even consider themselves as racist people, you know?
Right.
I have a black wife, whatever.
Right.
But it's like in that when
That
you're
moment.
when you're functioning on instinct and
Right.
like and
Right.
adrenaline and all that stuff, maybe you have racist bones in your body that you didn't
Right.
know were there. You know
You're
what I mean?
right.
So it's kind of like, I don't know.
That's what it is too. It's just like,
Well, we all do a little bit of math, right? Like
Mhm.
comedy is like really where we admit it.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone's doing jokes about who they are.
Right.
You have jokes about being black. I have jokes about being Irish. Like Spanish comics got jokes about Spanish. All the Indian
Right.
comics talk about their parents being Indian and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's where we like the jump off point for most sets is,
Mhm.
because it's kind of like, hey, I'm gonna say some of the things you know about Irish people that I know are true and you know are true, but we're never allowed to really talk about in polite
Right.
society.
Right.
And it's kind of like this having fun with stereotypes
Right.
is like what stand-up is.
Mhm.
And like stereotypes gone wrong is like what policing is and like what TSA is,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I feel you. Nah, that's actually a good analogy. I know what you mean.
Yeah, because it's like when you picture a school shooter, you
already know
picture
who it is.
something, you know?
Right.
You picture a white guy, or if you picture like a serial killer, if you picture but then you start getting more vague.
Mhm.
You start picturing like a soldier. What's that look like, right?
Right.
But you picture an inner city gang member, you're probably thinking of like a black teenager.
Right.
But if you're thinking of a school shooter, you're probably thinking of a white teenager.
Right.
Like, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference in
Threat.
threat, and what's the difference and honestly, what's the black kid is probably like a better kid in that scenario.
Right.
But like the black kid has a better chance of like getting arrested if the white kid never actually shoots anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's like, no, it's like, I just think in police, because we're just talking about police, I just think sometimes you're just taught, and this might even be before they even became a cop,
Yeah.
that you're taught that these things are dangerous and these things are not dangerous.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and,
all right, so
and for some people, black people was the thing to be taught as dangerous.
Well, here's this is from my dad, right? So
Yeah.
he's retired now, like 12 years.
Right.
But he used to say, and his like closest friend was a black dude, and they drank a lot together.
Yeah.
And they would they would just talk like, sort of unabashedly.
Yeah.
And
poker
they
table
would
talk.
both say it's hard to not become prejudiced more while you're a cop,
Yeah.
because it's like, it's really about money. It's like, who's got the most money?
I'm going to drop you a car while we're talking.
Like right now, I was
I'm
gonna say, you don't even have to if you don't want to. Like,
No, you're going to do that.
I
Can we
could
keep
walk
talking, bro?
I was gonna say, like, I completely fucking.
No,
What were we
you're
even
talking about it's
about?
hard to not be prejudiced as you become.
Oh yeah, so he was saying like, all right, imagine this, like you're stationed in a black neighborhood, and all the people who commit crime in that neighborhood are the poorest people in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So now, only people you interact with are black criminals who are lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
So now you start to think every black person you see is a criminal who's lying to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like my buddy tried to be a prison guard, and he quit after like 2 months because he said it was just making him like the worst type of person.
Yeah.
He's like, I started to think everyone I saw on the street was like a piece of shit who was gonna kill me.
Yeah.
Because like in that building,
Environment.
everyone was,
That's crazy.
So I think cops develop this thing of like every human being they're talking to is like giving them,
if they fit the profile.
is lying to them, and yeah, they fit some sort of profile,
Right.
I
And
think
they
now
make a
it's
profile they even make it for themselves.
playing field's leveled a little bit now. I think like in our day of being younger, like it was more like there weren't as many like white pieces of shit.
What you mean? You gotta elaborate on that one. That's too vague. You gotta get more
like
deep with that.
like there's always been white scumbags, but there's like I don't think beat cops were like dealing with white drug addicts on the streets in the numbers. Like this opiate epidemic is like the crack epidemic of like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, so if you were a cop in the 80s and 90s, it was like probably a little bit less like these white dudes. I don't know. Like like Mass Ave, you know what I mean? That's like a
Yeah.
lot of white dudes down there.
That's
And chicks. A lot
that-
of white
that's-
chicks.
Yeah, a lot of drug addicts over there, bro.
Yeah,
like
man.
every time I drive by, it's just like, God damn.
Oh,
like,
that's a
you see that
that's
shit.
Boston's embarrassing secret.
Yeah, like there's a lot of heroin over here.
Yeah, and it's
Or
pretty much
fentanyl.
openly allowed too. It's like
There's
that's like
so
a
many. It reminds me of you ever watched the show The
Amsterdam.
Wire?
Amsterdam,
yeah,
right? That's what it is.
Yeah, it's just allowed
See
to
that
do
guy? I
it.
remember a guy a few years ago. He got like a year ago. He got like kicked. They like all beat him up. It was like a prison guard.
For real?
Yeah, because there's a prison over there too. I
yeah,
worked
yeah,
over
yeah.
there.
My friend used to work there.
I used to work over there.
That shit's wild, man. But yeah, I be seeing.
But
that
I
shit.
think like so just what I was saying now. I think now the world is more equal in every way. So it's like it's not about racism. It's getting to be less and less about race every year, and more about where you stand financially and where you stand in
Classism.
the class.
Yeah.
I actually think if we're gonna get real fucking serious,
Yeah.
I think sometimes racism can be a distraction. Like sometimes I wonder if like Trump and like Trump and Clinton and like the people who are like rich and controlling the world,
Mhm.
like nothing is better if we're all online fighting amongst ourselves about who's racist and who's not racist while
Right.
they just fucking steal from us
Yeah.
relentlessly.
I know what you
Like
mean.
we should all be teaming up to just take down these fucking oligarchs who like, they fuck kids. Like we're finding out now that they're all fucking kids, like
Like
Jeffrey
that-
Epstein,
That's
and
insane.
they're
bro.
all out there like
That's
being
disgusting.
complete pieces of shit
Like on every level.
on every level, and like we're all saying like, there's a race problem in America, and like everyone hates each other, and it's like, whose controls the media? It's like these
Right.
people do. You know what I
Right.
mean? It seems sometimes that like I wonder about that. I'm like, when you see two people who are both poor online arguing with each other, you're like, hey, why don't you guys team up and fucking take down some one of these fucking all-powerful pieces of shit.
It's hard to get people in unison. You know what it is? It's just like this, and people who don't know how to work with other people are kind of like, you're not really gonna adjust well to society. You know what I mean? Because if you don't know how to work with people who are not like you, or even like you, when it's like, people don't understand like how a team has like a goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you gotta take the emotion out of shit when you're trying to reach your goal. You know, like, so like you'll see somebody form a team, like they'll have a good cause. Let's say that they pick that cause you just said, right?
Yeah.
They pick that cause, but all right, so let's say they got 30 people on whatever the fuck they're talking about, right? And there'll be like some friction. It's just friction because people are just interacting with each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not a reason to burn the whole shit down and not obtain the goal.
No, that's...
But people can't take their egos out of it. And
especially now. Like,
and I kind of think, like, that's why they fucking, like, the world is pushing, like, selfism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything's about me. It's a selfie. It's this, like this, about me. Look what I'm doing. Look at this. Fuck everybody. Fuck all these broke niggas from rich. Fuck these rich niggas from broke.
Right?
You know what I mean? So it's just all
right. So that's my point that I was just making right there. Like, fuck. Like, I won't say the N-word, but it's like fuck broke N-words. That's when I stopped listening to rap, man, because I was like, I've always loved rap and hip hop and stuff. And I was like, man, this is exactly the fucking problem, man. Like, you cannot be music. Is for everybody, man, and like especially rap. Like listening to Jay-Z and thinking like, man, maybe one day I'll have all these nice things. Now you're listening to Jay-Z and he's telling you like, fuck you,
because I'm richer than you.
Because I'm richer than you, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's like I can't put up with that.
Yeah, I know. After a while, you get tired of listening to shit like that. But that's what's just like, where I'd be like kind of scared for like kids with like, because you got to think of how impressionable you was at a certain age. And, like, that's what they're growing up on. You know what I mean? Like, growing up on it. This is, like, their roots are going to be in this.
My nieces are very vain and...
Yeah. Like, nobody knows how to operate in their fucking team. Yeah, I know. Like, he won't move over enough just so everybody else can have a good time.
Fucking up this whole thing.
That's what you do. You just beep in Boston.
I know. It always works.
Definitely does. But yeah, like I said, everybody's like just so fucking selfish.
Well, sometimes I really do think, I'm like, is this just like, sometimes I can be a little conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
I'm like,
everybody is a little bit.
They pit us against us, you know?
Yeah.
Like they pit us against each other, and they fucking all sit around and fuck kids on islands while we're all fighting about sexism and racism and transgender rights and all this shit. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, none of it fucking matters.
Well, people just fucking, they only do what they feel like affects them. Like, sometimes, like, and everybody's guilty of it, especially people in America, where you'll see, like, a problem, but it haven't reached you yet, so you don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was watching some shit where they talking about, like, global warming, and there's this place in Virginia where, like, the ice caps are a mountain that, it's a neighborhood that's just covered in water. Like, global warming is in Virginia. You know what I mean?
No, it's true, though. Like, stuff like that is happening in Southie. Even, like, the coast rises every summer.
Exactly.
I think, though, stuff like that, I wonder if that's, like, wouldn't that just have happened? Like,
that's what I'd be thinking. Like, that's just a natural thing.
It's like the world is aging. Like, everything ages and everything changes. And it's, I mean, I know. That's one of the things where, that's the thing, like, right? It's like you got to join a side, right? You got to either think Trump sucks and global warming is fucking real, or you got to, like, not. And it's like, I kind of hate Trump, but I also kind of think global warming is kind of, like, overblown. I think, like, if the dinosaurs fucking were killed, like, maybe we'll be killed. But, like, maybe that's how it goes.
Maybe our species is just done.
Yeah.
That's what I be thinking sometimes. Like, maybe it's just, like, our turn, and then something else will fucking come up.
Wow.
Around Boston Bruins fans.
Oh, dude, this is like the worst time to be over here.
Yeah, I know.
But this is a bad. Speaking of white drug addicts, this is like their fucking hang.
Yeah, this is where drug addicts go before they go to sleep in Mass Ave.
My dad took me to when he was a cop. He took me to Pine Street Inn a couple times.
Oh, I volunteered there one time.
Yeah, he took me there.
Like, see, like, really, like, people who are fucked up in the game.
Yeah, just to show you like how good you have it.
Yeah, it's just like I seen that shit. I was like, damn, there's some people. Like, it's just like, you know, especially when I see, like, people who are on drugs, it's just like, it'd be one thing to, like, I'd be thinking, like, imagine trying to navigate your life and you got a drug problem.
Oh, it's hard. I mean, when I was drinking, it was kind of like that, man. I mean,
I remember you told me.
One thing ends up,
I met you when you sobered up.
Yeah, you met me after. No
Yeah.
one up here knew the drunk me. He's fucking.
Yeah, you told me.
That's why we're all
shit.
friends.
Yeah, I know. Like, well, Noonan. You was an asshole drunk, or you just not fun to be around drunk?
I was pretty fun until I wasn't. I think I was like, I think actually like if I started drinking again, it'd be probably like 6 months before I did anything that was like
Crazy.
bad. Yeah, but it would eventually happen. But I was
trusted,
towards
man.
the end though. I was sad. Towards the end, I would get drunk and just, like cry and stuff.
Damn.
That's when you know it's.
Because you know you got a problem, but you can't stop.
Yeah, it's like you're not enjoying drinking anymore, and it's like kind of like an L. You know, it's kind of like eating cake if you're fat. You're like, what am I fucking
come on, I
doing
need
to
to
myself? I'm
stop
so
this shit.
weak. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't stop.
Right.
I remember like when I was in AA, I saw this lady who like just could not quit drinking. I never seen a soul who wanted to quit so bad.
just
Like
can't.
really, really, really wanted to. And she just like couldn't. She kept coming back every week like, I drank again. She'd be like, sometimes I still wonder what happened to her. The good old Boston, a dude just stopped in front of someone for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
That dude was sitting behind this fucking car for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. I see like drug addicts, and that's the thing. Like even like, I mean, I smoke bud and shit, but like I never even like got into really anything.
Well,
I don't even smoke cigarettes, bro. Like
Yeah,
I even see
I
people
did
who are
that, too.
addicted to cigarettes. It's just like it looks fucking miserable.
It's hard. Dude, even cigarettes is like $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
You know, $4,000 a year. So even you take out all the health stuff, it's like that's an addiction. Man.
Yeah, it's just like, come on. I be seeing that shit. I be like, damn, bro. Like, niggas out here just.
But I do have sympathy
Yeah.
for the addicted because I know it's not really 100% about you. It's like there is a thing though. I do think people need to, with depression and alcoholism and things of that nature, it's not going to change on its own. Like
Mhm.
you didn't get it on its own and you're not going to get rid of it on its own. Like you need to. I think a lot of people go, well, that's just it. I'm a drunk or I'm depressed and that's my life now. It's like, no, like unfortunately you can change this,
Right.
but you have to do it.
But you got to do the work. It's like with my boy. Like when I used to be mad fat, I got skinny, and then my boy when I'm getting chubby again. That's what I'm trying to get back. But I had a friend that
Me
got me
too.
into working out when I really was in good shape.
Yeah.
And my other friend told me, he was like, the thing about working out, it's not about how many reps you could do it. He's like, the first thing is you have to try.
Yeah.
That's the key. You have to try. Like, you can't just, like, go through the motions in here. Like, you got to get in here and run more
Yeah.
than you thought you could run. You
Yeah,
got to lift
it's
more
true.
than you just have to try. That's the key
Push
to the
it.
whole thing.
Yeah, push it and sweat.
Yeah, and feel like
No,
shit.
that's the thing. Like, I had almost like a year of feeling sorry for myself before I was like, you know what? I just gotta I gotta suck it up and admit that I'm a fucking drunk and
Right.
tell my parents and ask them to fucking. I told my dad, I was like, I don't know what to do, you know?
I'm just drunk.
I'm a drunk and I can't stop.
That shit's crazy. I
He-
can't imagine being drunk all the time.
I mean, you can't. I couldn't do it long. It was only like maybe my last 3 months.
Yeah.
And I would go. I remember when I moved my stuff up from New York.
Oh, man.
I was like, I'm not gonna drink today.
Like, you had to tell yourself that.
Yeah, like I would like hide booze and stuff, and then I was like, it was like 7:30, 8 a.m. and all I wanted was booze, and I was like
Car's
shaking.
down here, right?
Yeah, it's down. It's like way down.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I know. That's why I took this way.
It's
so
down
you
by like Motley's, that area. Remember that?
Oh, by Motley's and.
But not really by like you can drive me
Faneuil.
anywhere by. Like you
So
can,
by Hong
you don't
Kong.
even have to get off Atlantic. Like you can drop me off down by like Milk Street, you know,
Oh,
whatever,
yeah, yeah. I know,
India
I know.
Street or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah. That's where Gutter Mike is at.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like those guys,
yeah.
like the Gutter Boys.
Gutter Mike. Shout out to the Gutter Boys. Gutter Mike.
I like those guys a
But
lot.
yeah, fuck, damn.
But yeah, it's I do see sometimes like, you know, with
Loves
drinking and oh look at that fucking drunk. I love the dude
Look at
who like the dude who wouldn't bring a jacket.
Because he worked out so
Yes,
much.
He works. He gotta get his guns out. Now he's
Yes.
freezing.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, put a jacket on, man.
Yeah, I see that a lot in Southie.
Yeah, he worked so hard for these guns. It's like, bro, you know you're freezing. Like, what about? That's the thing about like Boston cold. Like, people don't understand. Like, this is a sea breeze.
Oh, I know.
Like, this is not regular cold.
It's not like when it gets in your bones.
Yeah, and it's like shivering. And that was funny. I was having this conversation. I hate being high and cold
Oh,
because I get violent shivers.
Everyone does.
Yeah, I get violent shivers when I'm high and cold, man.
It's yeah. You ever get the ones that are like you're like, am I having a fucking seizure? Right
Yeah,
now?
yeah. Oh, I had one of those shits the other day. Yo, I was shaking so much. It's like,
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yo, am
It's
I having
scary.
like, what the fuck is going on right now?
It's actually really scary. I've had a few of those. I had one where I was. This is a funny one, man. I sleep naked most of the time.
I used to live with this Haitian dude. I used to sleep naked.
Yeah, I always sleep naked.
There's a lot of people who sleep naked.
You know what? It's a great way to fucking get people to not stay at your place. Hey, can I sleep on the floor of your hotel room? Well, I sleep naked. No, I'll find someplace else.
I have to try that.
It's a great way to not have
because
dudes.
you have to tell somebody you sleep naked.
I sleep naked. Okay.
And they can't argue.
Yeah,
they can't tell you not to sleep naked.
All right. I don't want to be there, and I do it all the time. I mean, it's the truth.
So I'm saying, like, they can't tell you not to do that.
Yeah.
Dude, come on, you can't. No, that's how I sleep.
That's how I sleep.
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
Yeah. So, and I go to bed high too. So
High and naked.
just the way the Lord made me. I came into this world high and naked. So I go to bed, and I'm like, I don't know. I woke up like I'd only been asleep for an hour. Like I had to take a piss.
Yeah.
I was high, naked, and I just dropped like that piss, which is warmth. So I get out, and like something like a draft hit me.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah!
Yeah.
I jumped back into bed, and I like huddled up next to my girl. I was like,
you're like a fucking kid, right? I know that.
shaking.
I know those violent, cold shivers.
Yeah. You know, Pat, my old roommate, he used to get those really bad.
Oh, Pat, I ain't
Yeah.
seen him forever.
Because actually, sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
the antidepressants, which I take, they make that even worse.
For real?
Yeah.
I never took no pills, bro.
One time I was speaking of weed ruining like your high too, cold ruining a weed high. I was opening for this dope chick comedian headliner, and looking back, like I could have hooked up, but I was just too stupid and fucking stoned. But we were up in Manchester, and we kept going to the car and smoking, and then coming back in. But it was like the 12 feet from the car back into the hotel, like
So cold.
ruined the high every time.
Yeah.
It was like pointless.
Yeah.
And I must have smoked like 12 bolts trying to get this chick
Trying to keep it
high and like horny. Didn't work. It's a great swing and a miss.
Yeah. Swing and a miss.
With these drunk dudes, man.
They're
Just
just
fucking-
yo, that's the thing about like.
It's the only thing I miss about drinking is like how fun and stupid life used to be.
This is the funny thing about like being like drunk like that. You want the window?
Yeah, I was gonna.
These dudes are just drunk as fuck. But you see like a lot of people like. This really is a drunk ass city. Like, how many drunk people have we seen just in the last 5 minutes? At least I say 40. They're drunk. And then you see like all the different kinds of drunks. Like you see that's that bro drunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have some kind of like piece of equipment here. Like
like they got a fucking a pallet jack.
Yeah, a pallet jack that they stole from somewhere, and then
they just left it
they
there.
go, should we ditch it? Like they were gonna take it home and have a pallet jack, and they're like, yeah, and that is kind of fun. I remember me and my buddy once picked up a Vespa.
The fuck is that?
You know those little scooters, like those little motorcycle scooters?
Oh yeah.
Me and my buddy came out of a bar and there was a Vespa, and my buddy was like, "You think we could pick this up and put it like around the block?" And I was like, "I bet we can." We picked it up and we took it like 4 blocks away, and we put it down in front of some other bar. They're like, this will be so funny, and I'm like, the next morning I woke up, I'm like, we stole a dude's motorcycle.
Yeah.
My buddy was such a dick. He used to like kick over motorcycles when he was drunk, like
that's
parked
fucked
motorcycles.
up,
Yeah,
man. Especially a motorcycle.
I know, it's fucking expensive thing, man.
Yeah, tell me about it, dog. That you don't need.
Yeah.
That's why.
Did you have one? Oh yeah, you had one for a while.
I never had a
huh?
motorcycle. Nah.
Thought you
My
did.
shit was always cars. And remember my shit got stolen
Oh yeah.
out when we left the vault?
Do you still live in that neighborhood?
Nah. That was a wild
That was a while back, man. I got I was when I was buying weed off you all the time at that
Yeah.
place. I mean, I had no problem going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I remember twice one time someone just came like running up on me thinking like, what the fuck? I remember this guy he's like, what are you fucking doing here?
For real?
Yeah. And I was just like, nah, I was seeing my buddy. Just going to see my buddy. But the other funny thing that happened was when I went to that mobile and they like scammed my credit card.
Mm-hmm. They scammed it?
Yeah, when you you
Swipe.
put it in the fucking gas
They
pump.
got your number?
Yeah, they got my number and shit.
Are you shitting me?
I was like, fucking Roxbury.
Don't come to the berry. Keep that shit.
Fucking Roxbury. You
Yeah.
got me.
That's Roxbury, man. I love Roxbury.
I love
bro.
the Bury, man.
I love Roxbury. That's my favorite neighborhood.
My girlfriend's funny. She's from Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
and she works all over Boston. And she was like, she goes, someone got shot in Dudley Square. And I'm like, I go, is it Tuesday?
Right.
She's like, I'm there every day. I'm like,
Well, then
I go,
don't get
did
shot.
you not know Dudley Square was like a place where people get shot?
Right.
I was like, fucking A. I remember the first time I found myself there. I was like, I've only heard about this on the news.
Dudley, like, and you know what's so funny about Dudley, like with all the hustling, the junkies, and all that shit. My mom said that shit was like that when she was a kid. Like, it's just an
Yeah,
area that
always been
you,
that way.
You know, like areas they just can't change.
They really can't.
No matter what they put, like they put the whole school building over there. It's all nice. They got fucking
There's-
white people shit up
I was
Panera
just gonna
bread
say,
and
there's
shit
all
over
kinds of
there,
stuff
like,
like
and it's
that.
still just like.
I went over there and got
that's what
my
I said
Xbox
about,
fixed.
like fucking you got your Xbox fixed down there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that I know exactly.
You know that guy, right?
Yeah.
He's like the Xbox wizard or something.
But fucking, you know what's so funny about fucking like that area is just like, what I always loved about Boston was like, yo, the rich and poor people live right next to each other.
Yeah. New York, too.
Like,
Boston's probably even a little more separated than New York. But
yeah, I always hear that.
but that is the beauty of a city is like everyone's got to coexist.
Right.
On a very big level, too. Like,
Yeah.
even these big rich people, when you really think about it, like a guy like, say, like a millionaire like Trump or something, it's like he's got a staff of like 20, 30 people that live in the city that are all,
You gotta keep happy.
yeah, and that they're working for him or whatever.
All right. Damn, that shit is crazy when you really think about it. And Boston fucking, to live here, it's so fucking expensive. It just don't make no sense.
Yeah, it really is.
Like I said, it's just like, oof.
If you take
Which
this
way am I
right,
supposed to go?
this
This right?
yeah.
The one that says no turn on right?
Yeah, but you can do
Yeah.
it. I get a white man with you.
That's a Will Noonan shit to say.
You get a white man with you, bro. Privilege. Let's use it.
No,
Let's use this card.
Let's abuse your
And we're in a
white
Honda. I'll be like, bro, don't you watch the commercials? Come on,
that shit
come
worked.
on, bow 'em on TV.
If that shit worked, that would be dope. You do be on TV. Every time I see your commercials, I start laughing. I'm like, that's Will.
I know it's pretty fun. It's pretty fucking
Because
cool.
it always feels like I could call you right now and you'll pick it up on the
Yeah.
commercial.
You know what? Thank you for saying that. Because that is fucking funny, first of all. But that's how I feel when I see it sometimes. I feel like, oh yeah, that's me. Like
Yeah.
in a commercial, selling a car. Because they do so much cool shit to it. You can
Oh,
go
Mike right there.
take the next left, and that's my car's right there.
Yeah, man. That's how I always feel.
But yeah, it's like when I see it sometimes, especially the ones that are a little older, I'm like, yeah, I'm right in front of this dude. I'm like, man, I can barely even remember doing that now, and it's
Right.
funny to see.
Oh, this one right here.
I like hearing the ones on the radio more.
How come they can't give you a new Honda?
I might be getting one soon, but it's funny that I don't want to give this one up.
Ah, yeah, don't give it up.
It's fun to drive something that you don't have to make payments on, and you don't give a shit if anyone,
Yeah.
if someone nicks the door or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah,
whatever.
Fuck, that's why I can't wait to pay this shit off and I'm good.
I know. Well,
Bro,
dude,
I thank
thanks
you.
for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming, bro.
It was an honor and a pleasure. How do we
You
do?
did an hour and
Oh,
2
fuck
minutes.
yeah!
I told you. I want to thank Will Noonan.
Jason was just like, all right, we're here. Bye.
Nah, I fucking got through the outro. I want to thank my boy Will Noonan for coming on Poker Table Talk, the podcast we do for GP. Definitely not PC. You don't like to suck my wee-wee.
Ah.
Tell these people where they can find you, all that bullshit.
On TV.
All right, on the Honda commercial.
You can find me willnoonan.com, Will Noonan on Twitter. All that stuff is very easy. You can just type in Will Boston comedian into Google, and you will find me.
You got the jump on that.
I got the jump. Thing popped out again.
Yeah,
But
you keep
Will
taking it.
Boston comedian on Twitter. But I just want to say I love Jason Cordova. He's one of my oldest friends.
Yeah, definitely
He's
is.
been on my shitty podcast so many fucking times
All right, and you-
that it is great to be on this good podcast
Yeah.
of yours with a real recorder.
Yeah, you know I had to put some money into this shit. And then once again, If you got some questions, concerns, or you just want to insult me or talk shit, please hit me up on pokertabletop.podcast@gmail.com. Hardcore Dover on all social media platforms. And like you said, like I'm so glad you did this, bro. We always have good conversations.
Yeah, well, you gotta do it again soon. You gotta come on the Noonan show some Thursday afternoon.
Let's do it.
All right, next Thursday. Not this coming one, but the one after that.
I'm in. I'm about to put you in.
That's
all
great.
right, bro.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Poker Table Talk, the podcast we do for GP. Definitely not PC. Suck my wee. And if you don't like it, move out the way, nigga. BB.